Welcome into 11 Personnel, presented by our good friends at Monticello Bank. Monticello Bank, it's where people matter. You can't be in business for as long as they have if they don't matter. They're putting the customer first at Monticello Bank. They're in 20 locations in 14 counties across the across the Commonwealth of Kentucky. They're just right around the corner.
I didn't know what was going to come out there. So I get a little nervous.
What cock-a-doodle do? Man, that could have been really bad. Head on over to nbcbank.com for all your financial needs, big or small, whatever it may be, from opening up a home equity line of credit. I know holiday season's around the corner. Might want a little extra spending money in your pocket. Maybe you want to do something big. Maybe pull a Clark Griswold, get a pool put in. Now's the time where you got to start thinking about big stuff like that, big renovations coming up. Let Monticello Bank help you out with that. Monticello Bank, nbcbank.com. It's where people matter. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, and proud presenting sponsors of 11 Personnel. I'm Nick Roush here in Louisville, KY, and Adam Luckett is at the KS Bar and Grill. How's that flashing light treating you tonight, Luckett?
You're going to say, I got a Sir Pizza update. The flashing light is still flashing. Now, I can't remember if it was both sides. It's only one side's going right now, but it's as flashy as it's ever been. The other side is chilled out, but then again, I can't remember. So, City of Lexington, 11 Personnel is called you. Come fix this light. It is suffering. Come help it.
The Dodgers might need some help in the World Series. 2 home runs and 3 pitches. They're down 2-0 already in Game 5. So big Game 5 happening tonight.
Well, next time Joey Aguilar comes to Kroger Field, we should put this light in the end zone they're driving towards as a distraction from them throwing bombs with pinpoint accuracy the entire game.
Oh, and we got Tinker. He's already in the chat stirring it up, just taking a victory laugh. It's suck it, Tinker. All right. Yeah, it's just, I appreciate the views, but like you had your fun, okay? And go skedaddle. You got the Sooners to worry about this weekend. All right? Chill out. Oh wow. South End Josh is even tuning in live. Hey, it's South End Josh. It's the first time he's ever tuned in live. He said, really hope our lazy AD doesn't screw us over by sitting on his hands trying not to do his job. Wow. That's exactly everything you come to expect from South End Josh. Good guy, one of our friends on KS Board. If you aren't on KS Board, promo code UK1. Get you in there for the next 2 months. Good time to get on. There's some stuff happening, which Mr. Luckett, this has been dubbed the Hot Seat Bowl. And not even by us. This is not just crazy Kentucky fans. These are national analysts who are spending their week talking about Mark Stoops and how toasty his seat is. Brian Kelly gets fired. So they're like, well, who's next? And a lot of people have put Mark Stoops up next. Andy and Ari, they had him up first. Andy Staples did. Greg McElroy mentioned it on his show. And then Josh Pate was really just pouring salt in the wound. Essentially saying, great job, A&M fans. Look what you guys got out of. Your revolt worked. So thanks for that, Josh. Really, really appreciate that. So Luckett, how are we feeling as it's now not just us, not just we the people who are cranking up the heat on Mark Stoops.
Yeah. Matt, I think it was on today's show. He brought up an interesting point when he was pretty much like every move they've made for the last 2 years has been the wrong move. Like any decision they have made, it's almost been like, well, they should have just done the opposite.
So I'm trying to think of one.
Drew brought up the point of how they handled the offseason, the summer and the spring.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to beat that dead horse more than we've done already, but like we've talked about that. But yeah, like even like your point, or I think John Hill asked today, like Cutter Boley, do you have any regrets? Or Mark, do you have any regrets about the leap play against Texas?
No regrets.
Just all of these things.
Tattoo.
You start to thinking about it in totality. It's like, well, that's probably not a fair assessment,
Okay.
but it's probably not unfair either.
So here's the part that almost provides more evidence to that. I wanted to say the 4th and 7 against Ole Miss, but the only reason he did that is because the week before he didn't go for it on 4th down against Georgia, right? He was trying to make up for the mistake he made the week before. So, I mean, it is hard to find a time where, okay, yeah, you did the right thing here.
Yeah, it's so in all these little moves, you're just like digging more of a hole. So, yeah, like that. I think what Josh Pate's statement, it kind of goes along with that. Like Kentucky just keeps going the wrong direction. So so there's got to be the pendulum has to swing back one way in some other person's direction, and I think it swung back towards A&M there, and then like even the Georgia game last year, Nick.
Yeah,
just gotta, you just gotta go for it there.
Just go for the win. To your point that you previously mentioned, where John Hale asked if he had any regrets about the Cutter Boley decision. This is something that just like has ruminated for a while. The more, like the better Cutter Boley plays, the more it just, or the less it makes sense. Yeah, because they spent, I mean, the part that we didn't understand, Luckett, is we knew what they were going to do. We knew they were going to give it to Calzada. All the while, they just kept talking about how great Boley was. And it's, why are you doing all of this? Well, it's because that was what their own two eyes told them, but they didn't listen to them. And the line Stoops said was, nobody knows the future. You don't know it precisely, but part of your job is a talent evaluator. And if one guy is looking better at practice, you should play the guy who's looking better at practice. I mean, it's not that hard. And the other thing is, it wouldn't have mattered if those early games didn't matter so much. If that Ole Miss game didn't matter so much. If Cutter Boley's first SEC start wasn't on the road at South Carolina, right? If you get a little bit of runway, because look what happened in start 3 at Georgia. What if start 4 is at South Carolina and he's out there picking defenses apart and you got to figure it out? The season can look a lot different if you're that much further down the line. And that's, what we do, guys.
But I also think that would be their answer. It was like, we knew how important those big games were. We don't really know what we had with Cutter. We were shooting to have the higher floor. That was the plan with all of this. Like the Bush Handon's comments yesterday, when he was just talking about their roster build. To me, it came off as like, yeah, we had a plan, and the plan didn't work.
Huh? How many plans?
So we had to pivot to what we're on now, and like this is working. We figured something out here.
It took 5 ruined plans, but we finally got here.
But that's just that's what it kind of sounded like. And like, I think you look at the portal rebuild, I think what they were saying without saying it was like, we blame all our problems on the offensive line last year. All our problems were because our offensive line stunk.
Yep.
This offensive line does not stink.
Nope.
It's playing, I would say, above average football for an SEC offensive line. Average to above average. Like, they're not great.
Yeah.
But you're not watching these games, Nick, and walking away, our offensive line stinks.
Yes. They're not a liability, but they're also not a strength that you're like.
But you're also not going to, man, like, we can run the ball down people's throats.
No. You get decent sometimes.
But they're in the middle.
Yeah.
They're in a crowded middle. So, but that was, I think, the goal. That was what your realistic goal should be for doing what they did. But to get what they had, it cost a lot of money. It cost a lot of money to build this offensive line. And that takes away money from other places. And so for Kentucky, you decide you got to spend on quarterback. You try to bring in a bunch of receivers. And then you look over on, like, if you break it down player by player, you look over, well, the defense had some money, and they spent it on guys in the front, Sam Green, Cam Olds, Landon Watson, David Gusta. But they really didn't – the secondary, they didn't really even touch.
Nope.
They didn't touch it all. And then guess what position I think has probably been the biggest liability on the team? It's the secondary.
The secondary.
So, it's just not like allocation of resources, I don't think was there at the end of the day. And so you're here with, I think, this Kentucky staff. And at least me, I'm left questioning. I'm just like, okay, this is different than they've ever had to do before from a roster build standpoint, because it's very, I mean, everyone says it's very kind of front office how you have to build a team, and you have to build it each year, and you have to manage the funding you have, and you have to know what the market is for what players cost, and there's just a lot of moving parts. And Kentucky doesn't have a front office. A lot of teams have them now. Kentucky has a recruiting staff. They have a personnel staff. It's not very big.
No.
And the coaches have the authority power over there.
Yeah.
When it comes to personnel decisions. And a lot of this was a conversation when Vince left about who had power and whatnot, and who had Stoops' ear. Long story short. And it seems like a staff to me where they need they need a scouting and front office apparatus, because they're struggling to kind of build and find the players to do what they want to do. I don't know how you can see it any other way than how are we in Game 7 in a year this big, where you knew it was this big, where you got money, where you, like Stoops said, we're in a good place to go get the players we need to get to fix this.
Yeah.
Paraphrasing.
Well,
and that's what you came up with, and this is how the results you get. Like, I don't know what else to take it other than how they're doing it just doesn't work.
And it goes back to what we said about quarterback and player evaluation. Mark Stoops thought the secondary could be a strength of the team. When I asked him, well, what happened? Injuries. He had one injury. DJ Waller hasn't played at all this year, but it's one injury. You kind of expect at least one. I mean, now Teron Nichols, he's listed as doubtful for this game at Auburn along with DJ Waller. The guy that they brought in, the one secondary player they brought in, they only brought in one. They refused to play because they can't trust him out there. He just gets blown by as soon as it happens. Was it the Ole Miss game, or was it the Toledo?
He missed a hit. He missed a tackle on a hitch route against Ole Miss. And then, they ran a double move, Eastern Michigan, 75-yard touchdown, like a middle eight touchdown into the half.
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of it just goes down to player evaluation for me. And then the other part, too, is developing that talent. And, hey.
Right, because, there was a time Dayton Key and Barian Brown were freshman receivers running around, catching balls, looking like something you could really do something with. And then the next 2 years didn't turn out that way. The
other part, too, with the development, it isn't – I mean, we talked about this with Van on Monday, but the back seven is a real reliability in totality in the pass game. That's all players from the high school ranks that they recruited that should be better.
In multiple years, all guys who've played here multiple years.
Yeah. And no, that's not to say that it's a complete wash and there's no good to be seen from any of it at all. Ty Bryant has certainly had his moments, a couple games here and there. Like, you see some flashes from Quashid Scott or Jaden Smith, but like that, it's not good enough. And they're about to go face an Auburn team that is not a good passing team at all, Mr. Luckett. However, those are pretty good wide receivers they got out there with Singleton and Cam Coleman. And I don't know who's going to be quarterback. If it was me, I would just put Ashton Daniels in there and ride it out. But it only takes 2 or 3 passes to each of those guys to turn into a touchdown against this Kentucky secondary.
Yeah, I would say, first of all, Malcolm Simmons and Cam Coleman popped up on the availability report, both listed as questionable. Horatio Fields is already out. So watch them. That's 3 of their best 4 receivers. Hugh Freeze is having a lot of problems getting this passing game rolling to my befuddlement because it just seems so simple to me. I cannot believe this team is not averaging 30 points per game. It is the damnedest thing. You got half the battle in football is just having the receivers out there that can win one-on-one. And if you have that, it should make everything else easier. They have it in spades, and they can't figure it out. I don't understand it. For the life of me, I don't get it. Like, it shouldn't be that hard. Okay, here, Cam Coleman. Here's a 6-yard hitch route. Go get 20 yards. It should be pretty easy. He beats people deep all the time. They should be afraid of it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But that's the Auburn offense this year.
The other part, too, is Arnold hasn't – it's not like Peyton Thorne, who was just addicted to throwing interceptions in crucial moments. I think that – Arnold's red zone pick last week, it was almost like Hugh Freeze was looking for his one final straw, and it took him forever to get one. And finally, Arnold had a backbreaking turnover where he was like, okay, we got to put in Ashton Daniels now.
Yeah, but the big problem with Daniels, he was turnover prone at Stanford. Auburn, the one thing they have done well is not turn the ball over. Here's the other damnedest thing with Auburn. They are +7 in the turnover column. They're one of the best turnover margin teams in college football, and they're sitting 500. Here at 4-4, and they've lost a bunch of close games. It's just like, what the hell? So Daniels is going to play, but he's more turnover prone than Jackson Arnold. So that would be the concern. Here's my hot take, Nick. Mm-hmm. You ready for it?
Yeah. Play the freshman.
Kentucky's winning this football game on Saturday. They've got – now hear me out.
Yeah, I'll hear you out.
They've got the better quarterback.
Yep.
Number one. Okay. Auburn, the way to attack Kentucky is not how Auburn is going to attack Kentucky in this game.
Yeah, they're going to try to run it down their throat in a traditional run game too.
Yeah, they're going to come out and try to run the ball 45 times, win this game. That's not going to happen, I don't think, against this Kentucky defense. With what I've seen, now they could let go of the rope and that could happen. But it's assuming Kentucky comes out here and plays hard and plays we got the motivated a couple times from Brad White today, which I have reason to believe that I think they will. I think they're going to be able to stop the run. I think Freeze is going to be very careful with who's at quarterback because he doesn't want to make a mistake. Kentucky's got the better quarterback. Now, the real key in this, Nick, is if Kentucky had what Mark Stoops would like to do, let's come out and run the ball 50 times and play ground and pound football, they would be in deep trouble against this Auburn defense.
Oh, yeah. The front is
the best. It might be the best run defense in college football. But the pass defense is it's not very good. Cutter Boley's having some success. They're getting the ball out fast. They're moving him around well. I think Kentucky's offense is going to have some success moving the football. I'm a little from Auburn's side, I just don't know how they are going to attack Kentucky if it's going to work. And Hugh Freeze loses games at home. He's done it ever since he's got to Auburn. New Mexico State. Last year, the sturdy Golden Bears went in there, 12-point dog, and beat them outright. Arkansas won outright. They lose at Vanderbilt again, or Diego Pavia again. Vanderbilt last year, 17-7, slobber knocker. When they are laying points, they lose the games at Jordan-Hare Stadium. So I think to some people's probably they won't – they don't want to see. I think they've got a really good chance to win this game. And I actually think they go in and win this one because the hidden part about that Arkansas game is they don't win that game without Taylor Green throwing 3 interceptions. One was a pick 6.
All in the second half too. That was how they ended the game. It was.
And here's the other thing:
3 out of 4 possessions.
There's a SEC 2 touchdowns or less streak riding in this game, and it ain't the Kentucky Wildcats. It is the Auburn Tigers. 5 SEC games in a row, they have scored 2 offensive touchdowns or less. I'm just saying, I think Kentucky's a live dog in this game, and I would not be surprised. I'm going to pick them to win. Now, things can happen. Kentucky's got to maybe win the turnover battle for once. Let's start there. But I think they have a really good chance. Got the better quarterback. And I think how these teams are going to play, I think it kind of leans Kentucky's way when you start trying to project what the game plans will be for both teams. I like where Kentucky sits going into this game.
Yeah, I can't get all the way there with you on that one, Mr. Luckett, because I've watched Kentucky score touchdowns that weren't called touchdowns in this stadium. And so, like there's a little bit of history hasn't been on the Cat side when they've gone to the Plains. Randall Cobb is the only person that has beaten them since the 60s down there. But to your point, particularly offensively, I have enough faith in Cutter Boley that he will not be faced by this environment whatsoever, and that they have a good enough plan to be able to, as you said, kind of scheme around that stout front seven and even loosen them up a little bit for, Seth McGowan to get a chunk play or two. He was listed as probable. Stoops said it's like a grip sort of thing, which you worry about because that could be kind of finicky and from a ball security standpoint. But 2 weeks after the initial injury was suffered, you got to feel good about that. I think my overall worry is that Kentucky's pass defense is the perfect remedy. Yeah,
might be
for
what I think.
Street.
What I think we're going to see. I think I even told you this the other day. I think we're going to see Kentucky run like two coverages in this game. We're going to play this, and if they beat us, so be it. But we're just going to play our traditional cover three and just live with it. Auburn's going to play a more, I think, Kentucky scheme friendly style of offense. The one thing that does worry me, like Jordan Hare at night, I've never been, but I've heard people claim it's the best atmosphere in college football or one of the best. So that is obviously a play. But we're also getting to a point with Kentucky where, like, what does this team really have to lose at this point?
Yeah.
And I still want to say this because I think some people are just waiting for them to quit and fold. I don't think that's going to happen with this team. I really don't. Because of the makeup of the roster.
Yeah. And
of the guys who are playing.
I think some of it is people like Cutter. That matters. There is one thing about him that you haven't been able to say about every Kentucky quarterback under Mark Stoops, good or bad, is he has the locker room. Probably as good as anyone since Terry Wilson. Now, that's why 2020 was such a disaster because he kind of went off the rails there. But Steven Johnson, very similar too, where like he was well liked by not only just his close friends, but pretty much the entire offense and the receivers and everybody want to play hard for him. You have that with Cutter. And then the other part too is the offensive line is just a bunch of old guys who aren't going to there's no you don't see a lot of sort of prima donna stuff with this group. At least you don't expect it. So I'm with you there. I still just
I get it. I know what that sounds like coming out of my mouth. But
right. But here is the one other angle of this game that I'm curious about so previous runners, they got running quarterbacks. They got Kentucky because they would break a tackle and then just, take off and something crazy would happen. This is more traditional quarterback run game. Kentucky should be pretty good at stopping that, I would imagine. However, if it's Ashton Daniels, that's a big guy who it seemed like against Arkansas, whenever he initially got hit, he was getting 3 or 4 more yards because he's such a big SOB. Now, that's Arkansas's defense who couldn't stop a nosebleed. But that's one other element too. I kind of like the over at 45.5. I mean, I don't think I'm getting too drunk on the blue Kool-Aid that Kentucky can get to 24 or 27. And I think, especially if Coleman plays, him and Singleton are good for 3 scores. So I like the over in this game. It's crazy.
You're putting a lot of faith in 7 Iron Hugh over there.
Oh man. I did want to mention before we get too far down the ropes that this is going to be a pretty good crowd for a pretty good Kentucky road crowd, because like a lot of people planned this trip in advance and they got their tickets early. They aren't selling those. You could sell them through Game Time, but you should just buy them through Game Time, gametime.co in your browser. But download the Game Time app. That is the fastest, most convenient way to get the tickets delivered directly to your phone. You can tap on a seat. They've got the prices everywhere, zone deals, flash deals. You hit the deal. You look, see where your seat is, see what your viewpoint is. It's a great way to make sure you pick up last-minute tickets for whatever it may be, whether you want to watch this Kentucky football game. Maybe you've already set your sights on basketball. There's a lot of hot basketball tickets out there. Maybe you're going to make that trip for a Friday night game to watch Gonzaga in Nashville, or just want to watch the Cats at home. That Bellarmine game is during the holiday season. Luckett, that was my favorite. That was usually a great Christmas gift in the Roush house back in the day. Getting tickets to go watch Kentucky play. For me, it was usually like Austin Peay. That was my most memorable one at Freedom Hall. The holiday times, great gifts. Get them with Game Time. And when you use the code ON3, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code ON3 at Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Swipe, tap, go with Game Time. The best place for last-minute tickets this year. Mr. Luckett, we got a chat from Dealing with Dylan. He was pretty hyped for Mark Stoops. Loves Stoops. And he's not giving up the faith either. He is looking for him to getting back to 6-6 with Cutter. There's 2 points. One, do you have any faith that 6-6 could happen? His second point, we'll get to a little bit more there because I kind of want to elaborate some. Because I hate the percentage chance game more than anything. I would give Kentucky a 5% chance at going 6-6 this season. That might even feel a little bit high. I think they can rattle off a couple wins, but winning out, yeah.
Yeah. I bet to Dylan's question, I think his real question is like how could Kentucky in this market even hire a coach if they're firing Mark Stoops after what his run there?
So the big point I want to make, that we're spending $22 million on basketball. How could we have money for football? There's always money in the banana stand, folks.
Yeah,
there's plenty in there. That
this isn't your high school down the street.
Who's worried about paying for shot clocks because they got to put them in gyms now? I hate the notion that everybody sees that Kentucky's spending more of their rev share in basketball and that that means they are poor in football. That's not the case. That's not the case at all. And in fact, I know it got a lot of traction from me bringing up the Dabo thing on my Jocks hit today. But the point I want to make to the larger SEC audience is that Kentucky has the money. Money is not the issue for this team. They spent well on this roster, right? Like, it's the other stuff. And so if you get the right guy, you can still win here because they have the financial backing. I think the real worry on the opposite end is that money will dry up, because part of that money working is that you supplement your rev share with NIL money. If you bring in John Summerall, who knows all the boosters and knows all the alumni because he's coached here and played here, I don't know if he knows all the boosters, right? But there's a decent relationship there. So that certainly helps a lot. And even if it's not a guy like that, if it's a Will Stein, who's considered the second option at this point, there still will be some excitement that will percolate last time you hired a guy who coached at Oregon, he was pretty beloved by this fan base. He's got the local connections. His dad's a football alumnus. The money will be there. I think it's very silly to do the football basketball thing and assume that Kentucky football has no money to pay for anything when we are talking about paying $38 million for a buyout. That's on the table. The money's there.
Nick, Kentucky's in a little league called the Southeastern Conference. It's the richest conference in college athletics. Greg Sankey determines what's going to happen with this college football playoff. So the coaches that want to access, they can say all the shit they want, but the SEC is going to have the most access. If you're in the top 5 in this league, you're going to the damn playoff. Like, that's where we're headed. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you are any coach, you need to think about that. If that's your goal, is it going to be easier, Nick, to go to Oklahoma State and win a Big 12, or is it going to be easier to finish in the top 5 at a school like Kentucky, Arkansas, South Carolina, and the SEC? It's probably going to be easier to do it in a school like the SEC, in my opinion. Now, what that means is I don't know when this is going to start happening, but I can feel it in my plums. This is going to happen. Big 12 and ACC coaches in good jobs and good situations are going to leave for mid-tier Big 10 and SEC jobs. It's going to happen. Now, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And schools like Kentucky will be in position to capitalize on that. And so they're building a super league in every form and fashion. Super league just doesn't mean you have the most money and you have the most teams. It means you have the best coaches. It means you have the best personnel staffs. It means you have the best footballs. You get the best tasting hot dogs. You got the coldest beer. That's what being in the super league means. And that's where we're headed to. And so for Kentucky, they're going to have picks of coaches. And whenever they get in the market, they're going to have a better pool of candidates than they've had in the last couple of years. That's just the bottom line because of the situation they're in, because of the conference emblem they wear on their uniforms. Bottom line. That's where they are the best at. They have money. SEC, Mickey Mouse writes a big-ass check to the Southeastern Conference that they send down to their 16 members, and Kentucky is one of those members. And so they're in a just fine position, but they do have to go out and better use their resources. And again, allocation of resources, what we've talked about on this episode, their efficiency needs to be better, and it's not been good enough here these last few years.
So the latest tax returns that we have from the Southeastern Conference did not include the new TV deal with ABC ESPN. Schools got, I want to say that each school got $50 million from that last TV deal. This TV deal is 5 times bigger. I mean, they're going to be making a lot of money off of this, right? And so you can just, it's for Cincinnati Reds fans out there, they all know how this works, right? Like, you can be bad and still make money. But in order to continue making money, you have to give it a better try, right? There's a much stronger incentive because, especially in football, you get 7 home games a year. It'll be 6 sometimes in the new, I think that's how it works, right? With the new schedule format. Those are your most profitable days.
They'll alternate between 7 and 6. Yes.
Yeah, those are your most profitable days a year. You have to maximize that to the fullest. And Kentucky has not been able to do that.
You can't have non-sellouts for double-dip Keeneling, SEC Keeneling games with Texas and Tennessee, bringing crowds. If you're Kentucky in a 60,000-seat stadium, that is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Now, it's on them for not trying. But here moving forward, you cannot – I would bet, Nick, you get that new coach, there's going to be a hard push for season tickets and all of that after this year. It's also part of the reason why you would need to probably move on because you can't.
Yeah, no,
you can't really afford that. And I know I said Kentucky's going to beat Auburn. That was my prediction, but that doesn't change what I think is going to happen. I think there is going to be a separation, whether they win or lose.
Yeah,
on the Plains. I don't expect it to happen. Next week before the Florida game, I should say. I don't expect it to happen.
Right.
I think it'll be after that at the earliest.
You've been saying that for a very long time. I mean, because a lot of people after the losses at Ole Miss and South Carolina, and you started seeing in-season firings, and you're like, they're not going to do anything until after Florida or after the Florida game. Those are more of your litmus tests. I do think, to Dylan's question, winning the next 2 games is certainly possible, and then it puts you in a trickier spot. Then you got to win out. I think the worst part of this all, though, Luckett, it goes back to what I said a while ago. I want to say it was 2 weeks ago before Stoops and them lost to Texas, and he started changing his tune. I mean, Stoops was basically asked to pitch hope to the fan base, and it wasn't good. The scrappy, like, we're gonna fight, kind of grit our fist up there. That part's not good. It just, it's not really happening. The messaging could be significantly better, but who am I to? I'm not the PR guy
at this point.
Yeah. Because part of it is just like, well, because the other part of it is you say that we're getting better, and then it leads us to ask, well, why aren't you winning yet? If you're getting better, why are you still losing? That's the part that feels very nihilistic as a Kentucky football fan right now. Well, you're getting better, but it's not changing anything.
No headlines returned this week, Nick.
Twice.
We got out of that for a while.
And one of them was, hey, was that Bush's best game play calling? I think it's pretty clear it was yes, but he didn't want to make that headline.
Yeah, so we all know where we're headed, guys. And we're going to cover it like nobody's business when it gets here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not here.
So not here yet.
We'll have updates on Case Board where everything is and all that. So make sure you're getting over there.
There was some fun stuff dropped over there today that you might want to go take a look at.
But there's still games to be played, and there's still, I think this game, like, for Stoops to have a chance, I think, to make it to the end of the season, Nick, I think he has to win this game. Let's try that on for size. But also with the buyout, I don't know if Mitch writes the check out or if, like, he's got to go to a suit. Like, who writes the check for $37.5 million? I like to shake that guy's hand and have a conversation with him. How does it feel to write somebody a $37 million check? But I don't think, like, Kentucky very much wants to get to a negotiated structure, let's say.
Yeah. They want to get 20 to 25 million, defer the rest. Maybe there's offsets.
So where are they at on the timeline, right? Like, realistically.
Yeah.
I don't think we know really at this point.
I do think that it is worth saying, you're asking who writes the check. The Crafts spend their money on Ham. It's not on people to
I like to picture the mascot. Like, they take it to the Wildcat. They said, Mr. Wildcat, we need you to write this $37 million check. And then Scratch is sitting over there just like smug look on his face, staring you down. Like, how dare you? You know how hard we work for this?
Yeah, and the other part too, is it all booster money or is it money from the piggy bank? Who knows? But that's Mitch's primary job over the next few weeks. That's also why you don't fire him right away, is you buy yourself more time to round up money for that buyout. People are asking, why didn't you fire him midseason? His clause is currently 60 days after it happens. Well, maybe you wait till the next fiscal year. You get a little more money.
Is it like the golf tournament checks? Do we have this big ass Kentucky golf checkbook? University of Kentucky, go Cats! $37 million.
Oh man. Well, that's going to be a fun bridge to cross once we get there. I said it previously, but I'm heading out of town for a wedding this weekend, going to Texas. You'll be coming back from Auburn. I don't anticipate we'll have to do some random rapid reaction on Sunday, but I'm sure folks will be on high alert throughout the day just because. Well, actually, no, they won't be because Luckett's saying Kentucky's going to win. And
I'm
if
fully
the loser
prepared.
leaves town, it's Hugh Freeze.
I'm fully prepared to walk in a Waffle House in Athens, Alabama, and record 11 personnel. Fully prepared. No, I would love it. Like, this would be two loves in Adam Luckett's life meet. Football and covered, smothered ash browns.
All right. Well, speaking of things we love, I love the state of Louisiana, and a coaching search there has gone off the rails within 48 hours because we heard that when they fired Brian Kelly that the governor got involved. Well, the governor held a press conference and basically said, by God, this is my school, this is my program, and what the hell are we doing out here? If you haven't seen the clip, I've got a couple of quotes that I think are prescient.
Can you do the Louisiana accent of Governor Landry?
Peak actually has the video. Let's just go ahead and let Jeff Landry speak for himself because it's outstanding.
Because hold on. One real quick thing on that. Because here's what y'all reporters need to do. Y'all need to start looking at who represents all these people. Like these agents. You know what's interesting? If I'm not mistaken, Waters' agent, Kelly's agent, the Texas A&M, they're all the same agent. Like, you realize if I would be, I don't know how many sports writers we got here today? Just you. We should have a bunch. Okay? Like, this is ridiculous. Lawyers would be disbarred for the way these agents act and the way they're able to represent. In fact, there's no doubt, they may even represent some of the players now. Like, it's really time for the NCAA to put on some guardrails in college sports. Because, and it's fine. We don't need the guardrails. If big billionaires want to spend all that kind of money, no problem. But if I got to go find $53 million from Kemp, it's not going to be a pleasant conversation. I'm just telling you. I know.
First, I read the quotes, and then I saw, the video before I heard it.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
It's just on Twitter.
Yeah.
Then when I sat down and pressed play and listened to it, driving home from the facility or driving to the office, KS office from the facility, Joe Kratz football facility today, I'd lost it. I was oh my God, this is like
even better
movie.
Because he is
right, but he is right now they don't have the same agent. Brian Kelly's agent's Trace Armstrong, who's like the other big deal agent, and then Jimmy Sexton is Stoops' agent, Lane Kiffin's agent, Kirby Smart's agent,
Jimbo Fisher's agent. That's I like that it's I love that opinion that he made about what these agents are doing is ridiculous. Why are we letting them bend over backwards? Right? Like, just don't give them.
Yes, that is the point. Why it's almost like, why are you just, letting them just bully you at these negotiation tables? Like, what are we doing here? And that's probably what has to stop it. Like, no, we're not doing this.
And the point that I saw Andy Staples make recently, 10-year deals, can they just be 4?
Yeah, why do you need more than a 4 or 5-year deal? Well, like the sell before was, I got to have at least 4 years because how am I going to recruit?
Right. But that doesn't matter anymore.
But that doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So
And so essentially it got up. Or the other part too is you make 4-year guaranteed and then the other 3 are kind of flexible. I will say there's a lot of people who will mention on KS Sport or something, well, they need to include this clause or they need to do this or that or the other. The issue is that all of the power is in the agents and the coaches' hands because they aren't necessarily getting interviewed in a lot of these cases. A lot of them, it's their choice, right?
The coaches are the stars too in college sports because the coaches are here for long term. Players are here for 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes less. So it's a little different in that regard, but still it's getting to this point, Nick, where the job is becoming, I think, so big and so much to handle. Like you have to have them delegate responsibility So like what you were paying a coach, you still need to pay, but that money needs to go to in other pockets.
Yeah.
And so why do I need a head coach making $13 million when I've got to pay for a roster?
Yeah.
When I've got to pay for probably a scouting apparatus to go find us players,
which is something new, right? Like you used to. We saw how the Kentucky contracts are structured. They just paid their coordinators a ton of money, a premium, and coordinators probably shouldn't be making that much, especially when you're also paying multiple former coordinators to be analysts too to help them out.
When I've got to pay a lot of money, say I got a coach that's got an offensive background, I got to pay a lot of money for essentially a defensive head coach, or vice versa. If a coach has a defensive background, there's just a lot at play, and that's just a lot of money to pump into.
A lot has changed.
One person.
A lot has changed in this sport, except for how the agents control it, is essentially what we're getting at. And to Jeff Landry's credit, I mean, well done for calling a spade a spade. Now, the way he's going about it is hilarious because LSU doesn't have a president right now. So he said he met at the governor's mansion with the board of supervisors and talked about the legalities of it. And he's just decided that the spirit of the team, we had to make a change. We're going to move on. So,
let's be real. They weren't good at football, and LSU's not going to stand for that. So no amount of money is going to get in the way of that.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. If we have to tax the entire state for the Fighting Tigers to not lose to Vanderbilt again, we will do that.
Oh, man. I love too. And he said that guy Woodward, he wrote that contract that cost A&M $77 million. Right now, we have a $53 million liability, and we are not doing that again. Maybe we should let President Trump pick it. He loves winners. Yeah. I mean, just imagining. I'm actually disappointed that we didn't get a tweet or a truth or whatever Trump does. We needed Trump to say who he wants to be the next LSU head coach today.
That could be something.
That'd be some great content. But it also just this is the most Louisiana. I mean, just when you think of Louisiana politics, culture, everything, this is it. This is it. And it's also why Brian Kelly was never going to work there, because he is just the antithesis of it all. The only thing he knows that he's familiar with and is skilled at is the political side of it. His dad was a political operative. He gets that part of it. He knows how to play nice in front of a camera, even though he's kind of a jerk, who's a pretty good football coach, I think, still. Just not at LSU. Not at LSU.
Well, the advantages LSU had for a long time, which is access to players, Louisiana, they still have those, but other teams have those advantages now too with the portal.
Mm-hmm.
Like school like Vanderbilt has a more fruitful market to accumulate talent from.
Nashville, baby.
Well, it's not just that. It's like Indiana. It's everyone. You can't hoard players anymore. I mean, that's really the bottom line. You can't convince a cornerback to sit here for 3 years because you'll start when you're a senior, and we'll get you to the NFL. Players have figured it out. They're like, why would I go here when I can make money and I need to get in the NFL? I need to play. Like, cat's out of the bag. So, like, you can't hoard players anymore. That's the biggest advantage these schools had. It's why Nebraska was great when they were great. They had 150 players on their team. They had this big walk-on program and the scholarship thing. They reduced scholarships and they lost some of their advantage. It's the same thing playing out. Players have figured it out now, so now it's spreading the wealth. And that's why Kentucky fans have – there's going to be a point where I think some national media kind of try to pat Kentucky people on the head and be like, how dare you do this? Who do you think you are? And the rebuttal is going to be, are you not watching what we're watching? Indiana and Vanderbilt are going to make the playoff. Yeah. Like, there's no excuse for us to just sit here and say, well, we'll take our 10-game home losing streak and we'll just go on back home. There's no sense in standing for it. And so you've got to take advantage of what this has become, and it's a different world.
And that's why I need to bring up Dan, the Kentucky fan. Why at KSR y'all deciding we need a football coach? It's very frustrating, all the negativity y'all constantly talk. Hey, Dan, what positivity would you like me to talk about the Kentucky football program in the last 3 years? I say 3. It's 3 seasons. 2 years. September 30th, 2023 was Kentucky's last SEC home win. That's 2 years, 3 seasons worth of games. They've won 1 SEC game since then. And they got pretty damn lucky in the process. They fumbled the ball into their tight end's hands, who dove in the end zone to get the go-ahead score after converting on a 4th and 7 and getting 60 yards. And then the top 10 team they were playing, their kicker hooked a kick to tie the game and send it to overtime. There's plenty of reasons to be negative, okay? And just because, and I think that's the part that's hard too, just in generally speaking about all of this, is that Stoops is the winningest program in program history. He's the winningest coach in program history. Like, he's done a lot here. I've seen things I never would have expected here, but when you reflect on just the Mark Stoops era in totality, he knew how to build a winning program at Kentucky in that time and place. He does not know how to do it anymore. He's tried a lot of different things, but you know what? They keep coming up with these different plans like it, and they got to throw them in the trash. Times have changed. Mark Stoops, to his credit, I give him credit for trying, man. Like, he tried with the Liam Cohen thing, with the pro-style offense. Like, he has tried. He tried with the portal and NIL, but he's just not as good at it. Like, and, you know, that happens in life sometimes. You won a lot of games here. We appreciate it. Here's a big bucket of money. Thank you for your service. It's been a joy and an honor, but it like, even when they're getting better, Luckett, it still is not good enough to even keep it within, 3 scores of your rival who's good-ish but not great, you know?
It's got a bad defense. Like, you just had to – if you hold them to 35-ish points, you had a chance to win the game.
Yeah. To their point, he does not somebody else said he's the winningest coach in UK history and he has a losing record now. If you don't take the vacated wins off, he's still, I think, is 1 game above.
1 game over. Yeah, but it's going to be by the time it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last point I'll make, when we write how it went wrong for Stoops, what you just brought up is exactly what we'll talk about. Along with, I think, some of the when the pony up thing happened. But basically, he tried to change both in offense and with how they kind of run their program and with the portal, and they just could not ever figure it out.
They couldn't figure out how to do both. Like, what worked well versus what new. They couldn't get them to work together at the same time.
And then I think when we finally take a step back after it all ends, it'll make a lot more sense when you see it kind of put on paper. Yeah. Like, all the things that kind of went wrong and the talent drain, I think both players and coaching they had, like, it'll just make sense. And then I think some of the teams they beat, Nick, I think some of these schools made really good hires, and some of these guys are going to get bigger jobs.
I mean, Drink leads the program you used to beat up every year, and he's on all these hot boards.
Yeah, he's going to get one of the big 3 jobs. It's how it's trending.
Yeah. So, Dylan keeps saying just throw more money at Stoops. They've got plenty of money, Dylan. Don't you worry. You look like you could use some more money in your bankroll. You should get on over to BetMGM. Do it. If you're already I know you've already signed up for BetMGM. So when you get on your app, I know you see those college football boost tokens on Fridays. They got them for parlays. They got them just for regular straight up odds too. 20%. Add some more legs to your parlay. They've got them for multiple different ways to play. So claim those tokens when you put your bet into your bet slip at BetMGM. And if you're not a member yet, like, come on, get on the book now. Get on at BetMGM. Make this college football season legendary. And when you use promo code ON3, when you sign up, you can get up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your first bet loses. So whatever you spend on that first wager, you're either going to win it or you're going to get it back in bonus bets when you use promo code ON3. So sign up with BetMGM today and make this college football season one for the history books. Make it legendary with BetMGM. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S., 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY in New York. You can call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona, 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts, 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa, or 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. That first bet offer, it's for new customers only, subject to eligibility requirements, and rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Mr. Luckett, we have some games this weekend. We typically preview them all in the Pigskin Preview, but I'm out and about. It was a busy day for all of us. So no Pigskin Preview today. And a lot of it, too, is even if my bets stink, I actually do spend a decent amount of time researching all of these. Luckett's had strep throat. Like, I don't want to give out a bunch of bets that I haven't done my homework on, that I'm not confident in. And I'm not entirely confident in, but except for one thing, you're taking Virginia Tech plus 10.5 against Louisville, aren't you?
No, but I did look at it for a long time.
You thought about it though, right?
They're bad. Louisville's bad on the road. They've been weirdly like these games have been close against these teams they should be better than. Virginia Tech has been a little spicy. I do like it, but I'm probably not going to get there. Honestly, Nick, like Louisville, like if you look up their passing game numbers, it's like, oh, not good.
Well, they're throwing it a ton.
If you play them and you just take Isaac Brown, easier said than done, out of the game, like you're in business against them. But he's starting to get rolling these last few games.
Like 200 yards last weekend against Boston College. One game I did want to discuss and touch on because I can't get a strong feel for it. They are very much in the same tier. And that's Tennessee and Oklahoma. Tennessee's a 3-point favorite at home. It is the dark mode game. Part of me, it's a battle of strength on strength. The question is, if we get September John Mateer back, this feels like a spot that it feels like Oklahoma's better. It's just what we've seen as of late. I just think they're pretty mid, but I don't know. That's the part where I kind of go back and forth here. Like, do I trust a Brent Venables Oklahoma team to go on the road in that environment and be able to score enough points to win? Because as good as that defense is, Tennessee, they get explosives. They're going to get a couple explosives on that Oklahoma. They're going to score at least 21, 24 points. Do I trust Mateer in that offense enough?
Yeah, I think you look at that game. Like, if you think Oklahoma can get over 31, I think they can win the game. Tennessee's defense is bad. Do you trust them to get that?
Right.
I think it'll be very pointsy. They typically, like the FCS teams, G5 teams, absolutely bulldoze at home.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But as an SEC favorite, they're 5-7 against the spread under Heupel. They haven't been really good in this spot, but I don't know if I can pick Oklahoma to go in there and win.
Yeah. It's just something about them. I can't put my finger on it, but it's something about Oklahoma and the Brent Venables. I don't like it. I do like that Cal is a home dog against Virginia. Home dog. Virginia's got to cross the Appalachian Mountains and the Rocky Mountains to get there. Virginia's been getting by with one-score games, skin of their teeth. Wilcox is a home dog. That's awfully spicy to me. I know we talked about this being the loser leaves town game, Luckett. Mississippi State's playing Arkansas, and if you think
that will be on the card,
SEC's losing streak is bad.
That one will be on the card.
Mississippi State's lost in heartbreaking fashion in back-to-back weeks. Are they going to lose again, Mr. Luckett?
I like the Bulldogs here on the road at Arkansas.
Plus 4.5.
Maybe Bobby Petrino's just,
Not good.
lack of a better word, cooked. Maybe we just got to realize it's not 2004 anymore. State's been really good as a road dog. And they're not like both these teams have had some brutal losses.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they get off the mat here, and I think they finally get a win. So I like them to win outright there. And I definitely like it plus 4.5. My big one, Nick, is how do you go to the window and bet either of these teams in USC, Nebraska? How do you do it? USC cannot win on the road. They are 1-9 as a road favorite, ATS, since they joined the Big Ten. And then, like, the Nebraska thing. Like, hey, how do you – like, I think Matt Rule's like 0-18 his last 18 outright against top 25 teams. Like, if any game could end in a tie in college football, it would be this one. They would just have to call it. Neither team can win. I don't know how anyone goes to the window and just feels good about playing either side here.
No, you can't at all. One thing you can guarantee, though, is that USC will probably run the ball for a lot of yards because that's what everybody does against Nebraska. Even if you don't have a running game, they will you can find a way to do it against the Huskers defense. It is not a great unit. That total is 59.5 in Lincoln. A little Saturday night on NBC, Saturday night NBC primetime.
Another one, Nick.
Yeah.
There's a Who's Your Daddy game. All right. The ultimate Who's Your Daddy game wasn't even necessarily Kentucky, Tennessee. It was Kansas State, Kansas.
Mm-hmm. Kansas State,
small dog, just go up there and beat them up. Now it's another one. Kansas State's 12-1 in the last 13 games against Texas Tech, 11-2 against the spread. Texas Tech's having this all-time year. They got to go to the Little Apple.
7-point dog at home.
K-State's catching 7. I like the Purple Cats there too. So that's another one to keep an eye on.
Well, if you want more of the picks on Luckett's board, I'm going to give away 3 of mine too. In Luckett's Locks, his Friday column each week on KSR Plus. Make sure you're on KSR Plus. If there's a coaching search, we're going to have a lot of whispers, a lot of scuttlebutt we'll be sharing there, and plenty more. It's an exciting time of the year to be on KS board. Hopefully it's an exciting night at Jordan Hare. Luckett, he's feeling an upset coming on the Plains. We'll find out Saturday, 7:30, SEC Network. Should be a doozy between the Cats and the Tigers in the Hot Seat Bowl. Loser leaves town. For Adam Luckett, I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Kroger.